Start recording there. All right, here we go.
Listening to podcast is no replacement for real training. While we attempt to provide accurate commentary, we hold no responsibility on how you use the information we provide. Get medical training. In the blink of an eye, everyday order can be replaced with once-in-a-lifetime chaos. Be prepared. This is the Civilian Medical Podcast.
Hey guys, what's up? We're on episode 19. This is the Civilian Medical Podcast. My name is Dietrich, Skinny Medic. I've got my good buddy here, Sean, and it feels like we're in the dog days of summer right now. It is so hot outside.
It's been ridiculous. We actually had tornado and hail yesterday, and also just tons of terrible heat, but still better than Missouri.
It's definitely good just to be able to sit around inside the AC and record a podcast today.
I can imagine. So do you have AC out in the shop?
We do. Like, we have AC. We have a split unit out there, so it keeps it pretty good. Luckily, the lady who packs our orders doesn't like to be cold, so she's perfectly fine.
That's a bonus. You got to find somebody who was born in the Dominican or something who just loves the heat.
Yeah, so she in the summertime we would put an extra heater in there for her. So, and then in the wintertime we put an extra heater in there for her. So it's fine. She's okay at like 75 degrees in the shop, and she is comfortable. I'm like, I'm sweating. Turn the AC down.
Yeah, I like to keep it at a good 70, 69, somewhere right around there. That's where I'm comfortable. That's what I like.
That's like our house. We keep like 72, and at night we turn it down to 68. But during the day, 72.
Perfect, man.
Perfect.
What are we going to talk about today?
So, since both of us do a good bit of traveling, and I'm sure that some of our listeners here are traveling while they're listening to our podcast, I thought we can go through and kind of give them some ideas of what we carry, what they should carry. Maybe they're building a kit to carry when they're traveling. This could be, on a daily basis, back and forth to the office. Maybe you're driving out of town somewhere, going into an area that you're not familiar with. Or maybe you're flying and some things you can take on the plane, things like that. So just kind of maybe giving some of our viewers or listeners an idea of some things they can do to carry medical on an everyday basis.
Yeah, and traveling is definitely a great way to see what your deficiencies are, because if you're traveling and you're like, oh, well, I don't have this thing that I need, which has happened to me multiple times, it has helped me get a better kit. And traveling also has some unique challenges, because TSA, I feel like it's it's kind of like throwing darts at balloons. Sometimes you hit it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get through with something, sometimes you don't. And eventually, if you travel enough, that gets pretty expensive. So first off, when you travel, Skinny Medic, what are your big focuses on? Like, what kind of gear do you make sure you bring?
So for me, a lot of times I'm traveling with my wife and kids. We homeschool our kids, so our kids are heavily involved in our lives. So if we go, different trade shows, we're going to different events, my kids are going with me. So that kind of changes up things. So, a lot of times you don't need all this. Luckily, you don't need a tourniquet all the time. You don't need the combat gauze all the time. Maybe you just need some basic over-the-counter medicine. Maybe you need Tylenol. So kind of, I build my kits a little bit different based on my kids, because if we get out of town and they get a stomach bug, or, they get something going on, you don't want to have to run to try to find the local CVS. You may not know what's a good area, what's a not good area to be getting out at, 11 o'clock at night, getting medicine. So we try to be more prepared that way. So especially traveling by car, I feel like you can take more stuff with you, obviously, than flying. So we're able to pack a little bit more, be a little more prepared in the car while we're traveling than if we were just flying somewhere. And we've flown with them before, but you're kind of limited because you're packing so much stuff in anyway. You're like, I don't want to take a full medical kit with me. So I feel like we're kind of limited when we do fly.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, I fly 99% of the time. I barely drive anywhere for events and other things and classes and stuff that I go to. So for me, flying is the key, and I have to try to be basically as compact as I possibly can, while still allowing me to have the gear I need should something bad happen. So I guess let's start it here with trauma stuff. Clearly, driving along the road, you're pretty apt to kind of see something that goes wrong and goes bad. And when you're traveling in your vehicle, what kind of kit do you have, and what kind of kit do you carry in there?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. You said something before. I think my vehicle kit is ever changing because I may pull up on something and go, crap, I didn't have this. Or we're traveling and we're, hundreds of miles from the house. Like, crap, I really need this particular item. Like, I need heartburn medicine, or I need this, a flashlight, a better flashlight, whatever the reason is. So when we travel, if we're in my wife's car, she has a little small first aid kit in there that she keeps stowed away, and it has like 1,000 band-aids. It really does. It has 1,000 band-aids, different shapes, different sizes, different colors, because the kids always also need a band-aid. It feels like there's a lot of bandaging supplies in there. She has stuff for like bee and sting bites, like the little wipes to make them little wipes make you feel better. She's got like Tylenol, Benadryl. There's some Imodium. There's Pepto. There's stomach stuff, heartburn. There's pain medicine in there, but more like your boo-boo type stuff, just to kind of take care of the kids that way. We do carry a lot of trauma stuff. She carries a cat tourniquet with her. She's got a little like Tiffany. What is it? Tiffany blue? What's that color like they like?
Yeah, that like teal or turquoise kind of Tiffany blue.
Yeah, like she got one specially made, so it looks good while she can carry her tourniquet. And she does keep trauma supplies in there, but hers is more of taking care of the kids. Hers is more focused on that. For me and my truck, like I want to make sure I have everything under the sun, just about. And if I'm inside my area, like where I live, then I have a little better control of that kind of stuff because I can do a little more stuff because I'm able to clock in and go under my med control and do some stuff like that. But still, if I'm traveling, I understand that I'm just a first responder outside of South Carolina. That I can't do anything paramedic-ish outside. So, but I keep trauma supplies. I keep basically full sets of trauma kit, and then we also do carry some medicines in there as well. So, still thinking about tourniquets, pressure bandages, combat gauze, chest seals, that whole algorithm that we talked about the March, making sure you can complete that. And then because I can do some stuff around the area, like I carry IV supplies, I carry IV medicine, I have an oxygen cylinder, but that's more for work related. But if I pull up on something, then all I have to do is go, oh yeah, I'm at work, and I clock in and I'm good. So
that's good. That's good. For me, that basic first aid stuff, it is a huge hole in, I don't know why I said hole so weird, but it's a huge hole in my preparedness. Like I don't have any of that stuff. And it's actually something that I've been thinking about quite a bit, trying to figure out exactly what I would get and how I would do it. And I think for me, I'm going to try to like vacuum seal like individual, because let me go back just a little bit. It's short season. And I have realized over the last month or so that I've been wearing shorts that I am not prepared to wear shorts and carry medical gear. So first off, I want something that I can literally, that is, the size of a wallet, basically, that has that kind of stuff like Imodium and Benadryl and ibuprofen and aspirin and, just all that stuff. I need something super tiny. So I was thinking about just like taking a bunch of them and like vacuum sealing like 5 or 6 tablets or pills in each one, labeling them, and then putting them in some kind of small kit that I will easily take with me every single day. Some Band-Aids, some butterfly strips, just like all that stuff, because I really needed it lately. I talked about when I was in Missouri and we had to use Skittles to bring Tony Simon back from the dead. And now I'm carrying glucose, and that's just an added thing. I've got glucose in all my kits now that I carry with me everywhere, but I would also like that in just like a little first aid thing that I can just rip open. And I've got the stuff that I need, not much of it, but enough to get you through an emergency. So that's a huge hole for me, and one that I absolutely need to fill soon. But man, do you ever just feel like you're carrying so much junk around all the time and just get frustrated with it?
I do. And I think the more you carry, for me, like especially at events, somebody's going to gear check me. I know it. So I want to make sure that I have everything. Like if someone gear checks me, I want to be able to pass it. I want to be able to ace it. So you start carrying all this stuff, And I get it. Your pants are weighing 25 pounds now, and you got to have a really good belt to hold all that stuff up. So I get it, and especially wearing short season now. You and I both carry an ankle kit a lot, and now the ankle kit's out of the question. I mean, people are going to really look at you strange when you're wearing shorts and an ankle trauma kit on your one leg. So that's kind of get there. But to do a little self promotion, you were talking about the little vacuum seal kits. I think I should probably send you our Booboo Kit. It's not vacuum seal, but it comes in a little small like Ziploc bag, and it has some basic over the counter medicines in it. It's got some ointments and some creams. It's got some butterflies in it. It's got some Band-Aids and a couple of like finger bandages and stuff like that. So maybe I should send that to you. Let's take a look at it. And it's something that can easily go in your pocket and doesn't take up a lot of space.
Yeah, that's definitely useful. That's the small kit that you have?
The Booboo Kits.
Booboo Kits.
Booboo Kits. Yep. It's in a little Ziploc bag, so you can see what's in there. And it's not very big. And it's something you could, easily slide in your pockets like that, and you're not even know it's there. And it does give you like some burn cream, some biting sting pads, like I said, butterflies and Band-Aids and stuff like that. This stuff you think of like little ouchies and stuff like that. It's like I'm talking to little kids now, but that kind of thing. So that kit there, I think, would be a good for you to look at.
Oh yeah, that's really good. I'm looking at it right now. It's $10 at Medical Gear Outfitters. Yes, that absolutely is kind of exactly what I was talking about. Plus, you could carry it in your pocket. You could put it in your bigger med kit. I mean, I am noticing, especially I was just in Washington and hurt my knee late at night and didn't have anything to put on it, so I ended up having to just pour whiskey on it, and that was not the right thing to do.
I don't think you're supposed to drink it though. I think that's the problem. Like, I mean, you can drink it. I think you like pour a little bit and then drink a little bit. Is that how it works out?
Yeah. I poured some on my knee, and then I drank some, and then I poured more on my knee, and then I drank more.
And then you forget about the boo-boo.
Exactly. It worked then, but the next day it was red and angry.
Yeah. And so then there's Tylenol in there for you for that. There's triple antibiotic ointment in that kit for you. So it could handle the hangover and the ouchie for you.
Yeah, that's very good. So, okay, I'm going to get some of those and add those to not just, one that I can carry in my pocket, but also every medical kit that I carry everywhere else, because it's important. And I was like, that stuff's inconvenient, but hey, if you can carry this small thing and make a big difference for yourself or somebody else, it's perfect.
Yeah, and I think like as our listeners are thinking about what they're going to build, how they're going to put it, each situation is different, and you got to think about, one is your training and education that you know how to use. I know guys who say, well, I'm going to carry this just in case Skinny Medic shows up, and he knows how to use it. But that's a lot of stuff to carry, and I get it. So, I generally recommend people carry what you are comfortable with doing and that you have the education to do. There's no reason for the average Joe to carry, IV sets up, intubation tubes, all this stuff. I'm like, do you know how to use that stuff? Can you use that stuff? Well, no, in case the doctor shows up. Well, the odds of that happening are pretty slim. It may, but that's a lot of stuff to carry. That's a lot of real estate being taken up in your backpack or in your truck or your SUV or whatever. So, when you're thinking about your scenario, what you're going to may possibly face, think about your education, and then that scenario may change, whether it be summertime or wintertime, or if you have kids or don't have kids. So, as you're building these kits, kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah, 100%. So we mentioned shorts weather and that the ankle kits just don't work here. And I totally agree. I've literally been taking my Warrior Poet Society ankle kit that I filled with supplies from you. I have been putting that in the cargo pocket on my shorts and cinching my belt tighter so that my pants don't fall down. And it is not ideal. So like, I was also thinking I need to figure out the absolute bare minimum that I can handle March stuff with. And I'm thinking, like literally taking everything out of its package. And so there's no extra packaging, just like literally just vacuum sealing it so I can throw it in my pocket, because man, I'm fed up. I'm fed up with my pants just being weighed down all the time, and I need a better solution. What do you do?
So I agree. Like even the other day, like to being completely honest with you, is same situation. I just didn't wear my ankle kit. I was teaching. I'm like, you know what? I'm lazy today. I'm not going to carry it. So I threw it in a backpack. So at least my backpack was on me, and I had the gear with me. But I'm like, I just was lazy. I'm like, I didn't want to dress around it that day. So thinking about like ankle kits and this stuff, I think those are more for like life-threatening injuries. That March algorithm be able to stop major bleeding, because if you need a Band-Aid or some triple antibiotic ointment, you can wait the 5 minutes for me to go to my truck. And you're like, yeah, I got a Band-Aid. I got a Tylenol for you. Let's go to my truck and get that. Or let's go to my backpack and get that. But what you're keeping on you, I personally think that should be more like life-threatening injuries. Like, oh my gosh, we don't have time to wait for the ambulance to get here. You're getting ready to die. If you need a Tylenol, you can wait for me to walk out or go to my office and get a Tylenol or whatever. So thinking about like an ankle kit, definitely for the most of the year is okay. Summertime, it's not comfortable because it is hot and we don't want to wear pants all the time. So I get it. So like for me, like I took mine off, put it in my backpack. You put yours off, put yours in a cargo pocket. So the other one that, just to do again, another self-promotion is like the SWAT T. We have an EDC trauma kit that is a SWAT T, has petroleum gauze that you can make a chest seal with. And it has a pressure bandage and then has some gauze. So you can either do like regular compressed gauze or you can do a hemostatic agent. And so what I did with that kit, I did a video on it, is you take all that and you use the SWAT T to hold everything in place. So the SWAT T is holding your petroleum gauze, your pressure bandage, and your other gauze in place. So that's something that could easily go into your pocket. And then you have the ability to control major bleeding. You can create a chest seal if you need to. And it's not something that takes up a lot of real estate. That whole setup is probably about the size of your wallet. Your wallet's a lot bigger than mine, but I mean, probably the size of your wallet. So that's not a bad idea if the ankle kit is not working for you right now in this time of the year.
All right. Yeah, I like that. That is a good option too. It's just
the SWAT T is probably not the best tourniquet. It is a tourniquet. It's an effective tourniquet. You're going to lose theirs being self application. So, but there again, going against percentages, you're probably going to be applying a tourniquet to someone else, not self-applying to yourself. So having that ability, but not saying it's impossible, but I like it because it holds everything together. So like instead of having a cat and everything else holding around, this one is just one package that's held together.
Yeah, that is kind of nice. And convenience is the key. Like, carrying a firearm every single day, it's a huge deal just to make sure that it's comfortable and something that you'll actually use. And it was definitely tough for me to get used to that. And now, we talk about, and knives and flashlights and trauma kits and everything else. So yeah, I have noticed now that summer's here that I have a ton of deficiencies in the way that I'm prepared. So
I agree. I mean, even like for my weapon, like I like the VP9. I've been carrying it for a while now. Switched out like a Glock 19, switched those back and forth. But even in summertime, sometimes it's hard for me to conceal those kind of guns. So maybe I go to a little smaller pistol, like a little single stack, like the 43 or something like that. A smaller flashlight, stick in my pocket, just to have little smaller items in the summertime. Because in the wintertime, it's better in the wintertime because maybe I have no problem concealing a Glock 19 or VP9 or whatever. But maybe sometimes I just go to a Glock 43 and stick an extra magazine in my pocket. But then you're there again, talking about weight. You're adding more weight because now you're adding extra magazine. So it's all about finding that balance. Like you said, I do think it needs to be somewhat comfortable and convenient, or you're not going to do it.
Yeah,
it's not worth the dressing around and you're like, all right, forget this. I'm not going to need this. I'm going to just leave it here.
Yep. So when I travel on planes, what I take with me is I take my WLS civilian trauma kit from Medical Gear Outfitters. I've got one of those that has some extra stuff added into it, like glucose and all that other stuff, and I put it in my backpack. And it fits in there fine. And then I take my ankle kit, and if I'm wearing pants, I put it on my ankle. And if I'm not wearing pants, or I'm sorry, if I'm wearing shorts.
Then you get tackled by the TSA, and it's a big deal.
Exactly. And if I'm wearing shorts, I throw that into my backpack as well. So my backpack is probably about 80%. It's got like a tablet, a Chromebook, the WLS civilian trauma kit, and my ankle kit from Warrior Poet Society. So got all those things in my backpack with me at all times. And that's what I hop on the plane with. So when we talk about hopping on a plane, the things that I've seen that TSA gets super upset about, sometimes shears and sometimes. Right. So I've lost maybe, I don't even remember how many, 5 or 6 sets of shears, but I've also traveled with, 24 other ones and made it through just fine. I saw somebody just recently lost one of those. It had the ring on it, and then it's a seatbelt cutter, like a ripper. I don't even know specifically what it's called. He'd been through TSA 100 times with that, and then suddenly they decided that it was not good. The Rescue Me, which is my little glass breaking device with a seatbelt cutter on it. I've traveled through TSA with that probably a dozen times and had it taken twice. And then I stopped leaving it in my kit when I travel. Decompression needles, I actually took them out for the longest time, but I put them back in and they haven't said a word about it. So I'm pretty confident. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that those are going to make it through. But again, it's so hit or miss. And
yeah, there's the standard, like it's all over the place. So like there again, if I was traveling, I probably would not pack my Leatherman Raptor shears or even my egg shears, something a little more expensive that if they throw those away, you're going to be out $35, $45, $55. So maybe you just pack your cheap trauma shears that cost you a couple of dollars. That way, if something does, you're not really, I mean, granted, if you travel a lot and you lose 5 or 6 pair over a year, it kind of adds up, but just don't, I wouldn't take your expensive stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever had TSA take anything from you?
I have not. And I've traveled a couple times with trauma shears and a couple times I've not traveled with trauma shears. So I think the last time we traveled, we flew, I took an ankle kit, and then I had my Skinny Medic pocket kit, which is a vacuum sealed trauma kit. And it got some questions asked. They were like, what's this? What are you like? What's the reason for it? But then they let me go. Like they didn't harass me too much.
Yeah, that is pretty good. I have almost narrowed it down to my survival blanket that sets the metal detectors off. I have TSA pre, so I just have to walk through the thing. I don't have to do the back scatter where I have to hold my hands up above my head. And my ankle kit, I keep trying to walk through with it, and I keep looking through, trying to figure out what it is. And I'm pretty sure that it's the space blanket. The survival blanket that keeps triggering it. So now I've just started taking it off and throwing it in the tray and then walking through.
You don't get wanded?
No, they usually just make me show it and then ask what it is. And I say it's a medical kit, and they let me go.
Yeah, so they're generally pretty okay with it. There again, like they ask questions like, what is this? I'm like, oh, it's my trauma kit. And like I usually try to plug my business. I'm like the little side plug there, but just we have a conversation about it. And like, okay, cool, let you go. So for me, the same thing. I'm carrying my backpack, so I'll keep my MacBook in there, my charger, and then trauma supplies. And they've been pretty good about letting me go through most times.
Yeah, that is pretty good. So it's kind of hit or miss. Don't take anything through that you're really super attached to, because you just may lose it. Now, when we talk about going through and traveling in cars, this is another area that at this point, I think I'm ill prepared for, because again, I carry the exact same civilian trauma kit from you, and I carry the exact same ankle kit. And I'm actually in the process, and you and I have talked about this recently, of just building a bigger kit that I'm going to keep in my car that has all kinds of extra supplies for, crap hits the fan or whatever it happens to be. Just, when things go really, really wrong, having something in my car at all times that I could use to help myself and my family and my loved ones.
I agree. That's for us. That's a bigger kit. Maybe it's my backpack style kit that we're carrying. Another example would be like the first responder kit that we sell. It has everything from Booboo items to large burns to breathing problems. So it's able to run that gamut of. When we built that kit, I was like, all right, what might I need on the side of the road to help? And that, like our first responder kit at Medical Gear Outfitter, still has room to add stuff. So there again, going back thinking about kids, like there's really no kid medicines in there. It's all adult medicine. So if you had small children, maybe look at carrying some liquid Benadryl in there, and different types, like stomach medicines, headache medicines. Maybe you do throw a couple tampons in there, not for control bleeding, but some other issues that your wife or whoever has upon you. And look at stuff like that, kind of tailor it to your family, your friends' need that like you said, you run a problem where someone got hypoglycemic. So now you carry oral glucose. I have not run in that problem. I think Candace actually does carry oral glucose in her car, but I don't have it in my truck. But so you run different things. You're like, all right, I'm going to add this, and you kind of build it. It takes time because this stuff can get expensive. I mean, most people don't have the budget to go out and spend, $150 or more. I saw the meme today. It was like $180 med kit with $200 trigger.
Yeah.
Most people don't have the money to spend on that kind of stuff. So, and I get it. So you piece it together and you kind of build it from there. And then when we talk about vehicle kits, the thing always comes up is about heat and expiration dates and stuff like that. So I tell my viewers is, when you change your clocks, just check your med gear, like pull it out. If you have alcohol wipes or betadine wipes in there, all you got to do is open up one. If the alcohol wipe is still wet, the rest of them are good. If you open up one alcohol wipe and it's dry, they're probably all dry. So you look at replacing them. The heat and humidity does affect our medicines and does affect some of that stuff. So when they get ready to expire, I would replace those with some in-date medicine, some in-date stuff, kind of going through that. But the heat shouldn't affect your chest seals very much. All your trauma supplies should be good because let's face it, that stuff is riding around in Afghanistan right now. So being in summertime in the United States or wherever you're listening to us at, you're probably okay. But just in the spring and the fall, just pull out your med gear, double check it, make sure all the bandages look okay. And then if you need to replace it, it's just small little items to replace stuff with.
Yeah. I was looking at your first responder kit. It's at Medical Gear Outfitters. It's $156.46, and it doesn't have a lot of the trauma stuff, but man, it has like everything else, including stethoscope and everything.
Yeah, so we tried to think of, we were building that kit out. All right, there again, well inside the road. So we put blood pressure cuff and a stethoscope in there. We put a BVM. We put some airway kits, like the full OPA kit, the full MPA kit. You've got some burn items in there, lots of bandaging supplies. And that bag we chose still has plenty of room. So if you decide, I'm going to put a tourniquet, I'm going to put a pressure bandage, put some chest seals, you got plenty of room to add stuff in there. And, it has a survival blanket in there. So anything for those items, that's kind of a kit that you're not going to carry around at your office, but that kit absolutely could stay in your vehicle and it's good to go. And there's not a lot you can't handle until first responders get there with that kit.
Yeah. And if you just take, honestly, the trauma kit that I carry and just drop it in that bag, boom, you're set for just about everything.
You're set with just about everything. So, like we go back to the kids thing, I carry liquid medicine a lot. Sometimes it's a little more unstable. It kind of has a shorter expiration date, so you might have to replace it sooner. But like liquid Benadryl, so the liquid gets into our patients faster. It just doesn't last as long. So if someone's having an allergic reaction, there's no reason why you can't give them an adult kid's liquid Benadryl. Let them drink it, the 25 to 50 milligrams of liquid, and then give them a pill afterwards. So you could give them like the equivalent of, I think it's like 5 mLs, if I remember right. It goes 25 milligrams of Benadryl. So have someone drink that and then give them a pill because the liquid's going to get into their system faster. And then the pill kind of lasts longer. So you get that bonus of that. So there again, that bag though could be in your vehicle at the range. Someone happens and you got your trauma kit on you so you can control the oh my gosh moment. But then if someone gets a finger cut, like Tim from Military Arms did just a little while ago. He was post picture on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's a nasty wound, but he's not going to die from that. So let's keep it clean. That can easily go back to the vehicle and let's sit down, let's clean it up, get it covered up, give it secure. But he's not going to bleed to death from a finger injury. So having that mindset of going, all right, what's going to kill you needs to be on you, but then everything else can be in the truck. It's fine.
Yeah, that's a good point. That kit looks pretty awesome. I love how every single thing that I've been like, and this is not planned by the way, but I'm like, oh, I actually need that. You're like, yeah, we got that.
Yeah, we got that. We've added this again. This wasn't meant to be a self-promotion podcast, but it's turned out to be that way. We've added 50 new products this year to our store. So, we're adding more and more. Like, I'm like, all right, that's cool. Like, I think this would help our viewers. I hope this would help. So we're adding more and more stuff. And, people like the pre-made kits, but also people want to build their own stuff. And I have no problems with that either. So we want to be able to provide both. If you want a pre-made kit, like I like that first responder kit. I like the Booboo Kit. I'm going to buy those and be done with it. Or I want to build my own kit. Then we have the supplies to do that too.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And, I've been kind of browsing through here, just trying to figure it out. You do have tons of kits. Like, how big is your essentials kit?
So the essential kit comes in it's a vacuum sealed kit, and it has a cat tourniquet, it has a pressure bandage, it has compressed gauze, it has gloves, it has a Benchmade hook, and a survival blanket. So everything in that March algorithm that you need is in that kit. And the reason we went with compressed gauze because it does have an expiration date, but it's because of the chest seals and stuff like that. But really, don't tell anyone. But nothing really expires in that kit. I mean, nothing's going to go bad in that kit. So you could buy the Essentials kit. It's $100, free shipping, and you're good. Like you don't have to worry about checking it for expiration dates, things like that. So, and it's sealed in a packaging, so it's going to stay clean. And you could put that in your range bag. You could throw it in your vehicle. You could even put it in that first responder bag, whatever you'd like to, and it's good to go. And it's not very big. It's probably 6x8, maybe if I had to think about it right offhand. But it's not overly big.
So I could fit that in my pocket.
Yeah, it's pretty big. I don't know if I would honestly carry it in my cargo pocket. Like I would look more towards like the Skinny Medic Pocket Kit is there as well. It's vacuum sealed, so it comes a little bit smaller. It has a cat tourniquet, a 4-inch pressure bandage. It's a flat ETD, compressed gauze, and gloves. So it's a little more vacuum sealed, and I think that would go easily. We've got tons of guys who put that in their pocket, in their cargo pockets, their shorts.
Nice. I can tell that I'm going to go broke today at your website.
But you could use a coupon code, right?
I can. Civilian Medical, I think, right? Gets 10% off.
Exactly.
Perfect. I won't go broke. I can still order ramen tonight.
Yes. Well, maybe if you order a lot, then I won't have to eat ramen. I can eat steak tonight.
Exactly. This is how capitalism works.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, traveling is it's interesting with medical stuff. It's interesting with firearms. It's interesting with medical stuff. And it has definitely been, a learning experience, the stuff that I have in my kit. And I go through it usually about once a month and just kind of make sure everything's holding up and, make sure the oral glucose hasn't busted open or anything like that.
Yeah, I do the same thing, right before we travel or right before we're going, we're going into right now, like we're in the middle of summer, but we're already starting to plan some of our fall activities. So, we're going to be in like West Virginia, we're down in Georgia, we're going to be in North Carolina. So we're already so I will start prepping and making sure everything's ready to go. So before we hit our busy travel season.
Yeah, definitely. And, this fall it does get pretty crazy with the travel. So I'll be all over the place. So I really, I need to get some of this stuff kind of just figured out because the ankle kit and the shorts and whatnot are just not working out for me. So I'll definitely be ordering some stuff very, very soon. So
like while we're talking about traveling, what are some of the non-medical stuff? I think this might be interesting for people. It's like, what are some that you're like, if I travel, I have to have this, like, even though it's non-medical, like what are you carrying?
For me, ibuprofen, number one. That's a huge thing. Just headaches and sinus pressure and back aches, neck aches, because when you're on planes, it kind of sucks. And having a little bit of that anti-inflammatory can go a long way. So ibuprofen for sure. I try to always carry med kit, but non-medical items, I do need a Booboo Kit, so I'll be ordering one of those, and that'll go in. I'll probably order several, and they'll just go in backpacks, kind of all the backpacks that I travel with. Let's see. What else do I always? My passport.
What's your travel gun right now?
The SIG P365.
And has it jammed on you?
No. I did get actually one of the very first ones when they first came out, and it was the most awful thing that I've ever received. And then got a new one this year to give it a second chance, and it's been flawless. So that's what I travel with.
Which flashlight are you carrying right now?
The Streamlight Micro USB. Yeah,
Nice.
I love that. $28 on Amazon. Super bright, super small form factor, and I got it in Coyote, so also very fashionable. I carry that with me a lot. Before I carried a Phoenix, and it was a little bit bigger, but I was in some caves with Mr. Guns and Gear and Tactical Toolbox and all the gang from Brownells and everybody there. And Mr. Guns and Gear were with all these people.
He was scared.
No, he was good. But we're with all these people who preach, preparedness and being ready, and he and I were the only ones with flashlights.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was a good moment, and you never know when you're going to end up in a cave with Mr. Guns and Gear, so you got to be ready.
Exactly. What knife are you carrying now?
Right now, the knife that I carry, it's actually just a Tactical Gears, and it's I don't know. I got it for my birthday last year from Aaron from We Like Shooting, and I just like it. It's just I use it every day. It's just a a folder, and I opened tons of boxes with it, but I could use it to cut clothes off or whatever you need. And not super expensive, because again, sometimes I do forget to take my pocket knife out before I try to go through TSA and have to throw it in a trash can right before I get it, which I've done a couple times. One time with a $400 knife, which was the last time I ever carried an expensive knife on a trip. But
I would cry.
It was awful. It was awful. So yeah, that knife usually, and med kit. And then depending on where I'm at, I carry a spare magazine and a Neomag in my pocket. And then I just put it all into just a cheap flight case that I got off of Amazon with a couple locks. And I'll tell you what I'm going to start carrying. So I've been getting really into lock picking and, just trying to learn a bunch about that, because I'm like, this has real world applications all over.
Yes.
I think this is a valuable thing. So very soon I'll be adding lock picking stuff, either in the secret pocket on my Warrior Poet Society ankle rig, or just something that I throw in a backpack somewhere, because I'm like, this could be heavily valuable. So while I'm not doing it right this second, within the next month I will be.
Yes. My wife and I took a class this past spring on lock picking, and we thought it was the coolest thing ever. Like we were having a blast. So I've gotten pretty good at like the standard locks. The door locks are a little more tricky. Like they're trying to get the pins a little tricky on there. But yeah, like Kenneth and I, like, it's fun for us. Like we just sit around and do it. The funny thing is my little girl is an expert at it. Like she will pick a lock. I don't know what she's got. She's got the touch, but it's so funny to see this little bitty girl and they're messing with a lock, and she'll pick it. She can pick handcuffs. She'll do all that. So I actually bought my little girl a lock pick set so she can just play. And like she loves playing around, sitting around the handcuffs, and she'll pick the handcuffs. She can pick a master lock. So like this is awesome.
That is amazing. What lockpick kit do you have?
We just got one off Amazon, one of the cheap ones, because we only learned on a few picks. So we just got the little cheap set off Amazon, and we've been playing with it. Like it came with the clear locks that you could practice with and stuff like that. So it's been fun. It's just a new skill, something different to pick up. So it's been fun.
Yeah, that is awesome. And it, helps round out the man, round out the woman, round out the individual. So I think it's a good thing. And I'm absolutely going to be having one with me very soon. So what non-medical items do you travel with all the time?
So like I said earlier, right now I'm kind of stuck on my VP9 SF. It's the subcompact one. So I like that one. If I'm going to be out of town or if I've got the space, I will carry an extra magazine with me. I like the Olight S1 baton. It's a little small, a CR123 flashlight. There again, something that goes in my pocket. It's there. Same like you, I'm carrying a Kershaw, a little cheaper knife, because I will lose it. Like I will inevitably lay it down somewhere and I will lose it. So I've got some a little more expensive knives, but same time, if I'm traveling, I probably will carry my cheaper one. So then a lot of times my wife and I will carry the ham radios as well, just because if something happens, we can start listening and talking. I have a scanner that I carry. It's a digital scanner that I really like to carry, especially because it's a Uden scanner. It's the 436, I believe, if I remember offhand. But basically, I can be like we were in Atlanta a while back, and you can punch in the zip code that you're in, and it downloads all the frequencies from police, fire, everyone around you, and you can start listening. So thinking about from a preparedness side, if I can at least listen to what's going on, if something bad happens, there's a terrorist attack or an active threat, then I can punch in the zip code of the city I'm in, and boom, I'm listening to everything's going on. So that's one of the major things that I like that scanner, and the fact that you don't have to like look up frequencies and know all this programming stuff. It's as simple as putting in a zip code, and then boom, you're listening to fire, EMS talk, and it downloads the digital and stuff too. So most of the people are still talking, like most people UHF or VHF radio frequencies, but there's some digital stuff going on. So it's funny because most of the time the cops don't think about people listening on the digital network, so they say a lot more stuff they're not supposed to say, and they're a lot more not running the mouth. I'll say that. Like they talk a little more open because they don't think anybody's listening, and you're like, oh, that's what's going on. Like those guys are getting ready to do a raid, or they're getting ready to do a SWAT call. Like you hear this stuff, and I'm like, all right, cool. So that scanner for me is a big deal, especially when like we're stuck in a car, you're on the side of the road, traffic backs up, and we're Apple users, so I'm like, hey Siri, what zip code am I in? Pulls up my zip code, I punch it in my scanner, and now I'm listening to about the car wreck that's 2 miles down the road, knowing what's going on.
Dang, that's awesome. So that 436 is about $430, but man, that's smart.
It is. It's not cheap, but it's instead of having to look up frequencies and stuff like that, it just automatically downloads it.
Yeah, that is amazing. I also saw something else that I should carry when I travel. It is a what do you call it? They call it a pet urine and scorpion detector, but it's basically just one of the reactive blue lights. So maybe not. Maybe I'd be afraid to look at the hotels that we stay in and just see the stains everywhere. Oh. All right. Pausing while he is disconnected. Or am I having issues? No, I'm connected.
You there?
Yeah, I was like, okay, I know it was what I said was not a funny joke, but you didn't have to leave.
I completely lost internet. I was like, oh gosh, I don't know what happened.
That's awesome. Did you hear me talking about the dog urine stains and whatever?
Yes, I heard that.
Okay.
We were like, probably in our hotels, we don't want to see that.
Yes, because literally the second after I said that, it just went completely silent, and I was like, oh. And I looked up, and you were just gone.
Yeah, it said network problem, reconnecting, and it's just spinning. I was like, oh crap! And I could hear you talking. I could hear you say, "All right, I'm going to pause this till he comes back." You're like, maybe it's me. I don't know what happened, but so maybe it was my internet this time.
Yeah, I tested mine. Everything looks good on my side. Must just be a bad Comcast day across the country.
Yeah, it's terrible.
All right, cool. So we will add it back in here. Editor 4250. All right, cool. Let's see. Where do we go from here?
So the other thing that I carry is butterscotch creamer for my coffee, because the creamers always suck in the hotel rooms. And so my wife, I'm a coffee snob, so we have a little cooler and we pack my coffee creamer, and I gotta have the good creamer.
Dang. I just have whatever cream they have sitting around.
I mean, that probably is going to hurt my man card a little bit, but like I would love to drink black coffee, but I just can't do it.
I put cream in my coffee.
Butterscotch is so good. It's the liquid creamer. It's like liquid gold. I love it.
Yep. Yep, I've had it before. It is amazing. Man, I'm watching my calories. I can't do too much of that.
Yes, sir.
There's sugar in it for me. I'll look like I got stung by a bee. More so than I already do. Let's see. So I think we've covered traveling by car, traveling by plane. I guess, for me, traveling by boat would be the same. I did carry on a cruise in December of last year. I carried my normal trauma kit, and there was no problems with that. Train, bus.
We're going into Shark Week, so I think everyone should have a trauma kit going on their boat right now. So,
yeah, who was it? RevMedX that had the shark bite kit.
Yep. So doing that, I was talking to Eric at IV88, and he's got the fishing channel. So he was talking about a first aid kit for his boat. So we're kind of looking at that, trying to build him one. So I hope I put enough 8s in his name. I just thought about that. But anyway,
4-8.
4-8s, whatever. IV 4-8s, whatever.
Yeah.
We're gonna give him a whole new name. So I think about like tourniquets, like sunburn, sun cream, stuff like that. Maybe even something for nausea with the sickness on the boat, things like that. So there are some more things. I would probably put his kit in a Pelican case to make it a little more durable. And if it gets thrown overboard, you're okay. You can still get your med kit.
It'll float.
Yeah, it'll float.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
I've never been on a train, so I don't know about that.
Yeah, I can't see why you couldn't take a trauma kit on. That would be the same. And then if I was on a motorcycle, well, I would just try to wear an Iron Man suit.
Wear helmets.
Yes, wear helmets and leather everywhere.
Yeah, like I think they're control major bleeding for those guys. Most of them, if they're smart, are wearing good gear, so they're okay. But one of those amputations I had was from a motorcycle accident. So having a tourniquet, on you, there again, you probably have a backpack, you got side saddles, so you can very easily put the trauma kits we've talked about on a motorcycle.
Yeah, for sure. So I think pretty much that covers the traveling that we do, and we would like to hear from you out there if there's something you carry that's different, or just in addition to or a subtraction thereof, any of that stuff. Just let us know on our Facebook page. You can find a Civilian Medical Podcast. It's out there. Anything else to add before we wrap it up?
No, I think we covered everything. Hopefully we gave everybody some ideas, like if they want to buy a pre-made kit or they want to build their own, kind of give them some thoughts to kind of the process of going through that. So hopefully this helps them.
Yeah, 100% agree. And again, if you guys are carrying something different, and it made me think actually, because I'm all about as small as I can possibly be.
That's what she said.
Well, I'm doing a great job at that. But as far as my medical kits, I want that stuff to be there as well. I was thinking about the RevMedX, their Tourniquet Belt. That's something that I could just easily add to my everyday items, and then have that TQ with the ratchet system kind of on me all the time, which means I have to carry one less thing in my pocket or whatever else it happens to be. So yeah, I think all that stuff, it just really makes you think. It really makes you figure out, okay, I need to be small and compact, but also need to be able to take care of the things that I need to.
Right. I mean, it's a really bad feeling when you have something happen in front of you and you're like, if I only had this, I'd be able to help them. Maybe it is a tourniquet, or maybe it's, Benadryl or whatever. Like if I had this, I'd be able to help someone. That's a bad feeling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the glucose, that's exactly why I carry it, because I was like, holy crap, this is a big deal. And this is something I need to be prepared for that I'm not. Like, who knew that Tack Daddy had Skittles and that's all we needed to fix him? Yep,
exactly.
All right. Well, this seems to have turned into a wonderful way to talk about medicalgearoutfitters.com. That's where you can buy most of the stuff that we talked about. And honestly, I mean, it's not a self-promotion thing. It's literally, you've done this thinking, you've put this stuff into play, and you have it out there. And for really good prices, like the Booboo Kit is $9. The Pocket Kit, $49. What was it? The Essentials Kit was $100.
Yeah, $99.99.
So really good prices on all that stuff. I don't know how you're going to afford steak with prices that low.
If we sell enough of Mrs. Skinny Mac lets me eat a little nicer, but she runs a tough ship.
All right, that's awesome stuff. And don't forget, if you don't want him to eat, you can use coupon code Civilian Medical. It gets you 10% off all the supplies, bags, kits, everything else that you buy on the website. And any final words of wisdom for the people before we say that we're going to see them next week?
No, awesome. Looking forward to next week.
All right, can't wait. We've got another interview coming up, and I think this one will be super interesting. Can't wait to talk to them. And I guess you'll have to tune in to find out who it is. We'll see you next time.
And subscribe at civmedical.com.